Van Helsing. Alright, so this might be one of the most controversial movies that I've talked about on my channel so far, because a lot of people have love for this movie.
I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm not even going to... I'm going to recommend Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman.
Whoa. If you grew up with it, you're probably one of those people. You might be one of the people watching this video right now. However, there's a lot of people that do not like this movie at all.
Van Helsing, for me, is literally an unwatchable movie. A film that is literally unwatchable.
Alright, relax. But today I'm going to talk about why I think Stephen Sommers' Van Helsing is actually a good movie.
Now that I have your attention.
Part 1. The monsters. There are many monsters that have crawled, walked, and sprinted their way into the spotlight over the decades. Some of the most famous of those creatures are the Universal monsters. Plenty of films have been made to highlight the Universal monsters, but very few have managed to show 4 at a time. 2004's Van Helsing accomplishes this smoothly, with Mr. Hyde being disposed of early on to establish Van Helsing's personality and reputation as a bounty hunter. The werewolf or wolfman quickly establishes the stakes for Anna's character, while simultaneously showing us who she is as a character. She is strong and sexy, and as badass as she is beautiful. If you experience this movie 4 times in a row, you probably should consult your doctor. Furthermore, the design of the werewolves are possibly my favorite that I have ever seen. I think they're really well done. They're large, they're fast, and they just look menacing. Listen, while CGI almost never compares to practical effects, I do think that some of these werewolf transformations actually hold up surprisingly well. I thought all the CGI in this movie was going to look like complete garbage, but we talk about CGI a little bit later in the video, so I'll get to that later. But honestly, some of the transformations weren't terrible, were not as bad as I was expecting. I also appreciated the unique take on a werewolf transformation with flesh being ripped off to reveal the beast within. I think this method of transformation was pretty unique, and it's visually symbolic of the burden of being a werewolf, so I think it was alright. It was not bad. It was something different, you know? Dracula's design is awesome as well. I love the duality of it, the more traditional subdued depiction with the fangs and the eyes, and then it contrasts with that fully demonic form. The pointed ears, razor-sharp nails, jagged teeth, and that soulless stare that just pierces through a furrowed brow. Such a terrifying design gives the vampires a much scarier presence. Like, at any moment they could shapeshift and you could be face to face with a savage beast, a demon. I think the vampiric actors also really did a great job. I think they hit the nail on the head as far as the nature of this film goes. I've heard people say they don't like Richard Roxburgh's interpretation of Dracula, but honestly, I disagree for this movie, because I get that people say, oh, he's hamming it up, he's goofy, but I think that he actually hits the schlocky B-movie tone of this film perfectly. Now, maybe that's not what the director was going for, but quite frankly, I think it aged well, and to me, it just makes me feel like he kind of knew the movie that he was in, and I don't know, I just think he nails the role personally. And Alira's actress, Elena Anaya, absolutely flies away with this film.
Do you like to fly?
Her performance is over the top in a good way, much like Richard's, and she chews the scenery. Anytime she's in frame, she absolutely just eats it up. And fun fact, when I was doing research for this film, I actually discovered that she played Dr. Maru in the Wonder Woman movie. So, you know, it's pretty nice to see that her career continued to take off.
Do you like to fly?
And then, of course, there's Frankenstein's monster, aka MacGuffin. Much like the novel, Frankenstein's monster is very articulate in Van Helsing, and I like that. I like that a lot, because I think it adds a layer of depth to the character. It allows him to be more sympathetic. It really just brings his character to life. The unique innovations of the monster designs, as well as being able to fit them all into one movie, really makes Van Helsing a standout Universal monster feature. Part 2 is atmosphere. I'm talking about that flavorful eye candy that you get to look at and it puts you right into that Halloween spirit. The room's dimly illuminated by warm candle light, lightning bolts shooting across the sky as rain thrashes upon ancient castle walls. The scenery puts me right into that Halloween spirit. It's very reminiscent of Resident Evil 4 and 8, which is something that I just love. With all the rustic shacks that are in the rural town, I was half expecting to see Leon Kennedy just dive out of one of the windows. And then, of course, there's wardrobe. wardrobe is important. Wardrobe, it sets the tone of your film. It sets the authenticity. I mean, Kate Beckinsale's got that sexy vampire hunter look. We got Carl with the friar robes that look very authentic. They look worn. They look aged. They look real. When you've got bad wardrobes, it can be distracting. And I think that Van Helsing mostly avoids this problem. I'd say mostly because Alira's outfit was a little distracting, if you know what I'm saying. In my opinion, I even like Dracula's costume design, even though he kind of looks like the front man for the Black Parade. But there is one part of this movie that is incredible, and even the harshest critics cannot deny this. The soundtrack is awesome. I get another taste of Resident Evil 4. That guitar string song comes on and I feel like I just want to ride a horse or something. Hot damn. I'm not too familiar with composer's work, so I actually googled Alan Silvestri when I was doing research for this video, and the dude has quite the resume. The Polar Express, Night at the Museum, Beowulf, Ready Player One, Lilo and Stitch, Stuart Little, Predator 2, Forrest Gump, Back to the Future 1 and 2, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Avengers Endgame, and possibly the most impressive of all, Mac and Me. A soundtrack is something that is crucial for making a memorable and emotional impact on the viewer. Tony from Every Frame of Painting has a great video discussing this effect. He actually goes as far as going out on the street and interviewing people just to prove his point. Definitely check out his video when you're done with mine. I'll leave it linked in the description. He does incredible work. So yeah, the soundtrack is great, and I think the scenery and the wardrobe both add up to a fun atmosphere for the spooky season. Part 3, storytelling. Okay, alright, here we go. Now yes, it is true, for a proper Van Helsing viewing experience, you're supposed to turn your brain off. Now lucky for me, mine doesn't turn on, so I don't really have a problem with this. However, I understand a lot of people discredit this film. They say, oh, this is just brain dead garbage. But to be honest, you don't need every movie to be this like A24 artsy-fartsy masterpiece that says something profound about the human experience.
The pussy, the asshole, and the vagina. Then Picard being like, yes, but what does it mean?
Sometimes you just want some garbage. You just want some schlocky, mind-numbing stuff. Sometimes you just want to put something on to watch while you're tired, or while you're cooking dinner, while you're kind of at half capacity anyway. I love B-movies. I love schlock. I'm okay with stupid things to a point. I mean, like, Crawl was just annoyed me, but like this movie doesn't, so I don't know. I mean, it's subjective, I guess. I have no idea. There's not much, if any, character development in this film, and I know people don't like that, but the thing is, listen, it's a roller coaster schlock action fest, so I'm fine with it. So anyway, the movie starts in Transylvania, where we discover that Dracula needs Frankenstein's monster for an evil plan. However, the lead is buried as to what that plan is. From there, Dr. Frankenstein is killed and his monster grabs his body and flees to a nearby windmill. He is pursued by an angry mob eager to punish Dr. Frankenstein for robbing graves. They set the windmill ablaze and the monster falls presumably to his death. We witness the bride's distress over the loss of the monster before cutting to our first shot of Van Helsing. This is just a little side note, but I really like the use of blues and oranges here. It's a very natural use of complementary colors and I think it looks great. Gabriel tracks down Mr. Hyde and wants to take him into custody for his crimes, but Hyde has other plans. They begin to fight, and Van Helsing gets the upper hand. After, he goes to confess his sins, and that is when we are introduced to the Knights of the Holy Order. This is a secret underground organization made up of members from every religion that work together to fight evil. There's a lot of diversity in this film. We got Italian cardinals, English men, Transylvanian ladies, and Dutch Angles. Gabriel proceeds to be briefed on his next mission, which goes a little something like this. Man, I really don't want to do this job anymore. Oh, she's gonna be there? It's basically James Bond. The Knights of the Holy Order are MI6, Van Helsing is James Bond, Carl is Q, and I am thoroughly enjoying this schlock. This movie is basically if James Bond fought Dracula, the Wolfman, and Dr. Hyde, but Q got all the So after we get the obligatory, look at my latest invention scene.
Been working on that for 12 years. It's compressed magma from Mount Vesuvius with pure alkaline from the Gobi Desert. One of a kind.
What's it for?
Oh, I don't know, but I'm sure it'll come in handy.
12 years, you don't know what it does?
I didn't say that. I said I didn't know what it's for.
We cut to our introduction of the werewolf and Anna with this super dramatic hero shot. They attempt to capture and kill the werewolf, but it escapes because they just totally botched their plan. I don't know how they didn't know that everyone should have been loaded up with silver. I don't know. They got one dude with it's fine. I'm defending this film. Keep moving. She's halted by the edge of a cliff, and right as she's about to be attacked, her brother arrives, pushing her to safety and shooting the werewolf with a silver bullet before they're both taken over the edge. Anna's not liking this. Gabriel and Carl head to Transylvania on their mission to protect the last of the Valerius family. The vampires are after Anna because they got beef. Van Helsing and Carl enter town and they're stopped by Anna and the townsfolk. Anna orders the townsfolk to kill Van Helsing and Carl, but then a battle ensues. Van Helsing manages to kill Mariska, one of Dracula's brides. Now the vampires will kill for revenge. Anna, Van Helsing, and Carl must hurry to defeat Dracula, or they and the rest of the town will face his wrath. Later, we discover that Anna's brother Velkin is still alive. I know, I'm as shocked as you are. He returns to Dracula's castle, and Dracula does this sick chin move. Dracula has been using people as batteries to fuel his children's birth. However, after the loss of the monster, nothing has seemed to work. He will attempt to use Anna's brother now because he's a werewolf and he's hoping that werewolf blood running through his veins will help him out. Again, look at the sick chin move. It's sick! You know when you're a kid and you're dumb? Not like now. I've definitely grown out of that, but I feel like I was a kid looking at this and I was like, is there like a pressure point under there? That must be like super ancient Chinese martial arts. It's like, no, it's just dumb. Anna and Van Helsing make their way to Dr. Frankenstein's castle and they learn about Dracula's children. Van Helsing kills a number of them with a pump-action shotgun that he has now because remember, brain is off. Just turn it off. Realizing they're in over their head, our two heroes narrowly escape by using this grappling hook. Everything is better with a grappling hook. Am I right, gamers? Carl gets up after absolutely laying pipe like a savage, dude. What up, dude? Fryer? I hardly know her, dude. I mean, come on. Up top, dude. What's up? Anyway, so he leans on this post because he's sitting back looking at his work all satisfied like, yeah, I did that. And then he opens the wall and a painting turns around. And then we get my favorite part of the film, exposition. The exposition states that the werewolf can kill... It just takes a werewolf. That's all it takes to kill Dracula. They've been trying to do it for years. Werewolves don't like Dracula. Why hasn't a werewolf already tried to fight Dracula? He's got nothing to lose. Why not just take a bite out of his old jugular there? Stop asking questions. Brain off. We're going with the brain off for this one. They accidentally find the monster's living space and exchange dialogue where he says he just wants to exist, and you really start to feel for him.
What do you want?
To exist.
And then Anna immediately says, let's shoot it. Unfortunately, the werewolf had tracked them down and he sees the monster. He's discovered the monster's location. This is not good. This is bad news because if he tells Dracula, then he's going to get the monster. The kids are going to be born. The world's going to be over. It's kind of not the best outcome. It's not good. They try to extradite the monster to Rome in an attempt to keep him safe, and apparently this is a great way to do it because apparently nothing's faster than Transylvanian horses, okay? Not even a werewolf.
Nothing is faster than Transylvanian horses. Not even a werewolf.
Which is kind of funny seeing as how immediately after the werewolf catches up to them. Whatever, just shut up. While trying to kidnap the monster, Verona is killed by a bomb covered in stakes that was placed inside a decoy carriage that we don't know about until the vampire brides do. Dare I say, watchable? Velkin is shot DMC5 style. Slow-mo is so super anime and cool, dude. Oh my gosh, dude. Velkin is shot with a silver bullet and Anna embraces him as he lays there dying. After it is revealed that before his death, he bit Van Helsing, and now Van is doomed to a similar fate. Alira, the last of the brides, kidnaps Anna successfully this time. Alira invites them all to Dracula's masquerade ball, where Dracula hopes to trade Anna for the monster. Van Helsing and Carl tranquilize the monster and put him in a tomb nearby. Instead of trading the monster for Anna, they're gonna crash Dracula's party and circus her ass to safety. What rope did he cut? Who cares? It's anime, dude. Oh my gosh, dude, that's the most anime thing I've ever seen. The monster is kidnapped almost immediately. Great hiding spot, guys. And then Dracula welcomes all of his guests to feed on Van Helsing, Carl, and Anna. There's a cool shot of Dracula and Anna dancing in a mirror, and you can kind of tell that all of the guests are vampires because she's the only reflection in the mirror, and it's fun, and it's neat, and it's watchable, Brian. Damn it. Anna and Van Helsing grab Carl and jump out the window. Right before he drops his invention, he discovers
What it's for.
it blows vampires to smithereens. Something exposition. The piece of the scroll fits the painting that Anna's father used to study for hours. There you go. It is more than a painting. It's a doorway to Dracula's hidden castle. They finally, after all these years, found where it is. The time has come to rescue the monster, defeat Dracula, and cure Van Helsing, all before the stroke of midnight. They do it all. All of the vampires are killed. She gets staked through the stomach, doesn't matter, don't think about it too much. All the vampires are killed, but Anna is killed by Gabriel. What? It's at this point you might be thinking to yourself, how did she die from landing on a cushioned chair when the rest of the movie she just got thrown around, knocked around. And all I gotta say about that is, there you go thinking again. What did we say about doing that? Stop doing that. Our story ends with Anna being cremated and reuniting with her family in the afterlife. The monster can be seen floating away on a raft, and he looks to be tied to a cinder block, presumably to end his life, but that seems to be left up to the viewer's interpretation. Honestly, the monster kind of took a back seat in this film. It starts off with him being wronged, and then you're kind of hoping for him to get some sort of revenge. I kind of wanted him to be the one to kill Dracula. Have him earn the respect of people. That way he could prove, if he killed Dracula, he could have proved to the Knights of the Holy Order that he was in fact good, and then maybe he could fit into society, and that would be a nice character arc. But instead, Stephen Sommers wanted a sexy werewolf.
We had to transform Hugh Jackman into a big, scary werewolf, but also Stephen Sommers wanted the werewolf to be sexy looking.
I will say the writing is by far the worst aspect of this film for me. But if you're looking for some schlock filled with action, cool monsters, a sexy cast, and a Halloween atmosphere, this is definitely one of the films of all time. Part 4, CGI and the Perfect Gateway. One of the most popular complaints about this film is the overuse of CGI that now looks dated. If you ask me, I'm always going to prefer practical effects when it's possible. There's something about seeing how it's done that feels inspirational. It makes you feel as though you could do it too. In the early 2000s, CGI was on the cutting edge, and believe it or not, these effects were actually pretty good for the time. That being said, yes, some of the parts where CGI is used, the quality can feel a little uneven. It can look pretty good in some parts and not that great in other parts. However, the parts that don't look that great could have an appeal to a different audience. And that's what leads me into The Perfect Gateway. The fact that the effects kind of look dated now make this a really great gateway horror film. And come to think of it, this might have been my first horror movie ever. Now yes, I kind of classify this as an action film now, but for a kid, some of this stuff is spooky. The campy tone combined with dated effects and consistent action makes this a fantastic movie for kids that are too scared to view a traditional horror film. Either way, this is a film that is easily digestible for a younger audience and a great gateway into the horror genre for the more apprehensive viewer.
The end battle between Van Helsing and Dracula is like watching a kid bashing two action figures together. That's what it felt like.
In conclusion, it's fine. Even if all the writing is bad and the action is repetitive and it's way too dark in some scenes, and Carl says the thing.
Even if you somehow kill Dracula, Rome orders you to destroy Frankenstein as well.
Bruh.